All right. Hey guys, sorry about that. Took me a minute. There was that Joe Rogan clip was playing. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find where it was playing from. All right, my friends, nice to see you. This is Tarabuster, unapologetic liberal talk. We meet here every Tuesday and Thursday on the Political Voices Network, on the Political Voices YouTube and Substack. And then on Friday, we have our Friday night get-together. That's our hangout Friday night on the Tarabuster YouTube channel, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So I hope I could see you there. Hope we will see everybody there. All right. Where do we begin? Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. We have a lot to talk about today. Am I muted? Don't even tell me. What? Eastern? No, it's not. Why does it say muted? Why are you saying muted, Jim, on the chat? Is something muted? All right. Let's see. I'm just going to proceed as normal. Oh, it was you. Okay. Don't scare me like that, Jim. Okay. Yes, thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News, for all you do to keep the show going and growing with your donations, not just to the show, but to the community cats. Check out Charlie's APS Radio. Download the little app. Listen to classic rock and oldies all day long. And then there's other independent media voices at APS Radio News, and myself. Cindy Sheehan has a show over there, and others. So thank you, Charlie, for making the world a better place. All right. And, of course, patrons. Thank you, patrons. Patreon.com. Okay, I don't want to... This is not e-begging or e-plugging time. Let's just get into it. We only have an hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so it goes by very quickly. And what we're witnessing... So many things. It's just never enough. That's why I really do need a daily show at a set time. If you can, support my Substack. Look, there I go again, making a plug. Okay, where do we begin? I guess, because what's really irritating me, and you guys know that I am of the belief that, and correct me if you have a different opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, that the reason we're fighting fascism now is because of money in politics and the corporate media. Two things that are connected, of course. The corporate media is useless. I'm glad to see others, mostly in the independent liberal media, of course. Most people who do this are calling it out. Stephanie Miller, for one, I hear her talk about it all the time. She has a very large platform, thankfully. And you see that the people who are getting fired off of corporate media for telling the truth, they join us here in the independent space where they can tell the truth. So when they talk about the liberal media, that's always been a canard. Going back to Reagan, going back to the Telecommunications Act, and which began the destruction of the media, the consolidation of the media, and it all started with Reagan. Clinton put the nail in the coffin, and then of course that created what do you call it? Rush Limbaugh. Why can't I think? Why can't I talk? So Rush Limbaugh was our generations, I suppose, or I was young at the time. But it was our father Coughlin. We've always had to deal with fascists trying to destroy America from within, trying to divide and conquer the country, especially along racial lines, along every distinction, every difference with how's that saying go? Every distinction without a difference, because that's really what they do. They tickle those fissures of disunity and keep people at each other's throats, then pointing their anger and frustration where it belongs. And the corporate media right now, okay, they have normalized Trump to the degree where those who weren't paying attention, these independents, I guess they thought Trader Trump was a reasonable choice I don't understand that. Anyone with half a brain cell or a clue would know that that disgusting waste of human DNA, I mean, it has no redeeming qualities. Nothing but a disco prowling, con man, pedo, sexual predator with a fake university, all kinds of scams. He's just a completely constructed persona. Everything about him is bullshit, which leads me to what we're dealing with. It's all bullshit. It's all performance. And it's so pathetic with all these man babies in charge. We're under the rule of a bunch of emotionally stunted man babies. And the media, what I'm bringing it up with the corporate media now is they're saying, oh, Trump is losing the manosphere. Okay, I'm not in the manosphere, clearly. I have no interest in it, but I have done many shows about Joe Rogan, and Jim can tell you. He's an idiot. Joe Rogan is an idiot. And the fact that they are giving him credence, that he has a lot of followers, right? That's very concerning. And to me, because it just speaks volumes of the stupidity that people crave in this country. This guy is an idiot. And now they're saying he's finally getting a clue. He's seen the light. I don't know. No, he's not. He hasn't even seen the light, has he? Because he says that people feel betrayed now. That's not what they voted for. The American people didn't vote for more wars. They voted for peace through strength. You know what? And a friend of mine, I got to tell you this too, because, and it backs up what I'm saying. My friend, I talk to him quite often. We've been friends for a long time. He's gay. Unfortunately, he listens to right-wing media, right? And it's really disgraceful. I do try to educate him, of course, but he's a smart person. He didn't go to college. This is the thing. And Jim knows the story because I've told it before. But and that's part of the problem. Not that everybody who didn't go, I mean, Tom Hartman didn't graduate from college, you know? It's having a level of intellectual curiosity. You could still read books. You could still consume media that is life-affirming, not lying to you. But he listens to right-wingers a lot, and he was telling me, that, and it was repeating really what Joe Rogan was saying. He was saying that Joe Rogan, nobody voted for this. This Trump, he lied. He said he would be the president of peace, and this is why people feel betrayed. And I'm like, I'm sorry. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm sorry. You're betrayed by a con man. He lied to you. You feel like this is not what he ran on. Are you kidding me? Right? You're talking about somebody who, what did he run on? It doesn't matter what he runs on. He's a con man, and you're a dupe. If you believe a con man, all of a sudden, I feel so betrayed. Well, thank you for joining the reality-based community, because, we've been trying to tell you. I've been screaming about it since he came down the escalator. It's disgusting, but they have normalized him. The corporate media normalized him, and they normalize the acceptance of him. There's nothing about voting for Trump that anybody should be proud of or feeling betrayed. If you feel betrayed, then you should be, look in the mirror and take it as a clue that it's time to wake up. Maybe everybody has blind spots, right? Sometimes I think, I wonder what I'm not seeing, and You never know. And that's why we have each other. People, your friends in your life, you point shit out to each other that maybe they're not seeing. That's a good friend that does that. And I tried, we all tried to point out to the American people what we're dealing with. So you don't take that con man and turn him into a statesman on the media because he's running for an office that he has no business being in. He's never reached the office or the man will what do they always say, like the office will make the man or whatever the hell, like he'll change. The guy is a sociopath, a malignancy, a malignant narcissist. We're all his narcissistic supply, and it's and if you're so now they're giving all over the corporate media, they're giving Joe Rogan a pat on the back. I don't even know. Is it a pat on the back? I guess it's not a pat on the back because they have to be objective. They have to pretend that Trader Trump has redeeming qualities. This is part of what is so infuriating in the timeline we're living in the stupidest timeline where it's gaslighting. It's constant gaslighting from Trader Trump to the maladministration to the corporate media that sits there and has to ponder his sincerity, whether he has an exit plan or a strategy, or what do you think the motivations are here, there, or wherever. His motivations are, let me explain to those who just woke up, feeding the gaping black hole of need and greed that other people have personalities in, right? So he has a gaping black hole that will never be satiated because he is sick. We don't want to put sick and disturbed people in power over the American. I mean, people with no empathy should not be in positions of leadership. I know that they've done numerous studies on CEOs that psychopaths are overpopulated or overrepresented in the upper boardrooms of corporate America. That's a problem. It's if one thing comes out of this time we're living in, I really do hope it is that we figure out that selfishness, greed, is not the only American value that's worthy, because that's what it feels like. Greed and selfishness. I got mine. Sucks to be you. That's the timeline we're living in, and Trader Trump is the perfect touchstone for that, of course. But how dare he, lie to us, as you saw. Well, I mean, there's so many things. Let me. I'm still talking about Joe Rogan here, but. Let me just play a couple of things we've discussed before. You saw the clip of Joe Rogan being, wow, nobody. I don't understand. Okay, I know I have a lot of words, I have a lot of thoughts, and they're all trying to come out of my mouth at the same time. But I don't understand. That's what makes me so sad. Why? I don't get why Joe Rogan has such a big following, and I'm not saying it's because he's a man, and that's his show is geared towards that kind of juvenile, stupid yucks, which is whatever. If that's your thing, everybody needs a stupid yuck now and again. I am a big Howard Stern fan. I used to listen to Howard Stern years ago, when I had to get him on the tune-in radio. When you had to turn the dial. I would listen to Howard Stern. I loved Howard Stern. People say, why are you listening to Howard Stern? Because he was smart. To me, he's not an idiot. I was not interested as much in the bologna slices being thrown at strippers' asses or anything, but I enjoyed the rest of his show. He was interesting, and he was funny and smart, and and I still see him that way when I do listen to him on occasion. I don't have a serious, I don't listen to it regularly, I should say. And it's not like I'm saying that this that whole genre is something that I loathe. And but Joe Rogan is no Howard Stern. He's a moron. Okay, Howard Stern never spread misinformation, COVID misinformation. He never spread the type of hate. Now we can all go back and look at old skits that were certainly less sensitive in today's environment against people like, gay people like me and whatnot. Then fine, it is what it is. We're all products. We're all living in our time, and we learn and we grow and we evolve. But Joe Rogan, his comedy is hate, is based in mocking people, hating minority groups. There's nothing smart about it. And he's so dumb that, let me see if I have this clip here. It's really embarrassing. Here it is. One second. Because, you don't have to see the clip of him going, everybody feels betrayed. Because everybody's playing it. If you feel betrayed, you should be embarrassed. Because how could you be betrayed by a con man? We told you he was a con man. When he came down the escalator calling Mexicans rapists, that should have been it for you. And that is how the corporate media should have reported it, by the way. As Americans, we recognize that. We come from a lineage, a tradition of people who stormed the beaches of Normandy because of someone like that holding power and just trying to destroy the globe, the democratic world. So when somebody comes down an escalator calling a minority group, targeting a minority group with lies, that should have been it for patriots. And that's how the corporate media should have reported it. Not what, he's an outsider, he's a disruptor. He's a disruptor. He's in politics. Oh, what a political genius. The maggots call him a political genius. He's not a political genius. He just is a racist and has no standards and doesn't care about this country. He doesn't care that he tears the country apart. It's a plaything. We are his plaything. And unfortunately, there's a whole system of billionaires paying millionaires to tell dumbasses who listen to them to not listen critically of what they're talking about, what the message, the underlying message is. But it's the billionaires telling millionaires that to tell working people that their problems are a gay kid or a trans kid or someone with darker pigment or someone getting $16 in food stamps they didn't really deserve, while billionaires ride us mercilessly. Jesus Christ. It's pathetic. That's what I can't stand about maggots too, besides everything else. Not only do they, these are the people that are so in tune, supposedly, with all the conspiracies, right? Up every wazoo is a conspiracy. But they don't see the oldest conspiracy, the oldest trick in the book, which plays out every single day, every time Trader Trump opens his mouth. Right? It's true. It's all. That's one of the things he said at his Nuremberg Rally. We're going to stop gender mutilation and, and what does the corporate media say in response to that? They don't educate the American people. They just repeat it. It's not gender mutilation. We have study upon... what does it take to come back in 5 minutes and just say, well, that's lie, that's a divisive lie? And the same thing with Trader Trump, just coming down the escalator, calling Mexicans rapists. You don't even have to say, of course, Mexicans aren't rapists. Trump is a rapist. Yet again, another example of everything being a projection or a confession with Republicans. The irony there isn't lost. Calling Mexicans rapists when he's a friggin' rapist. He's the rapist. Adjudicated, a serial rapist. A serial sexual predator. Where's my premiere? There we go. Here's a clip from Joe Rogan. I've played it before.
State of the Union was not live. And
yes, it was.
No. Did you see that they found out that it wasn't? That they looked at his watch, and his watch was...
no.
Yeah. Do a State of the Union analysis, Biden's watch.
No way.
Yeah, someone zoomed in on his watch, and his watch was the wrong time.
How could that even be?
Well, it could be he's blind. You can't see what time
all
his
the networks
watch
on
is.
it?
I don't know what they knew. How do you know what they knew?
Can you believe this?
You get a feed.
I don't think all the Republicans would agree to it, too.
Who knows what they knew?
This is a conversation for real.
They're all there live while he's doing it?
Yeah. You got Mike Johnson behind you. You got them all in the audience crossing their hands when they don't like what you say. It's got to be live.
Let's see.
I don't see anything. State of the Union wasn't live. I added watch.
It could be some troll shit.
See anything about
They
that.
got me.
Yeah.
They got me.
But there was no Biden's watch. Look at Biden's watch, incorrect time, State of the Union.
He doesn't have a watch. He has a sundial. The guy's 5,000 years old.
He's looking at the stars with a sextant.
That's not why he has that face.
No, President Biden's Oval Office address wasn't pre-recorded. A fake
No, that's
image
the
with
Oval
the
Office,
wrong
not the
time
State of the
floating
Union.
around. Yeah, there is a fake image. They got me, these sons of bitches. It's just amazing how much stuff is fake. Floating around. Say it again. Put it up.
That's also not the State of the Union thing.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not that amazing, Joe. You gotta do your research. You don't just take a meme off the internet and then go onto your platform that unfortunately, sadly, for the state of the world, has a lot of followers and viewers and spread that shit, which is what he's done before. Oh yeah, they got me. You see that? The State of the Union wasn't live. How stupid do you have to be? And how irresponsible, too. You see? But this is the guy who endorsed Trader Trump in the last weeks of the campaign. Why? Because he's the man of peace? Because he's going to bring the economy back? When we were in a great economy under Joe Biden. We were finally getting inflation under control. But the corporate media, all they did was give us polls about how people felt about the economy. And then there's not just the economy, but how they felt. They felt that Republicans would be better for the economy, that Trump would be better because, he's a businessman. Not that he's not a businessman. He's a con man. That's the difference. The businessmen of New York weren't getting together and coming up with making deals and businesses, and they're saying, wait. We can't begin our meeting until Trump gets here. Because he was a joke. He is a joke. Now he's like, oh, no one's laughing now, right? I'm the president. This is why he's made over $3 billion in the last year. Because he's a grifter. He wasn't able to do that in a legitimate business. Because that takes skill. That takes the ability to be a negotiator and making deals. Ugh. If I ever hear that fucking word, making a deal again, it'll be too soon. He's not a deal maker. Deal. It's the easiest deal. I got deals. We're going to make a deal. He doesn't know anything, just like Republicans. And that's why it's like, oh, Joe Rogan turns from Trump. Breaks from Trump. Well, congrats, but you should be embarrassed. But this is what we're dealing with. These man babies who are clueless. What is America supposed to be? What is America? That's the other thing. So as you probably saw the clips of the child in charge of cutting or just cutting grants in in Elon Musk's Department of Gazillionaire Extortion, which has done more harm to this country than, Putin could have hoped to do in that short period of time. But he doesn't know, he can't, just like the rest of them, they can't define the very thing that they're supposed to be in charge of overseeing. So here's a clip from the deposition.
How do you interpret DEI?
Not too, I mean, this is your lane,
DEO
right?
Explicitly laid out the details. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It's okay. I'm asking for your understanding.
Yeah,
Of it.
what's your
My understanding
understanding?
was exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay.
Your understanding
I don't remember
is
what was in the
what
EO.
So right now, do you have an understanding of
Trader
what DEI
Trump
is?
says.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's
Yeah.
your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO. And so anytime that we
You
would
see?
look at a grant
Who
through the
the
lens of
Is this
complying with an
person
executive order, we would
too?
just refer-
Who is this person to be in charge of anything? It looks like he cut himself shaving this morning. Who are these people? That's why it's so distressing and disturbing and disgusting and deplorable to put these people in charge of actual lives, right? Our lives, our government, our bureaucracy. I know Republicans have turned the word bureaucracy into a dirty word. Oh, all the red tape, the regulations, right? Bureaucracy is a necessary part of having a functioning society. You need the bureaucracy to make the trains run on time, to keep things going and flowing. You need people, the people who these monsters fired, they took oaths to the Constitution, many of them. In the federal bureaucracy, you take an oath to serve the American people. And that is a kind of job that people should want. People should get a living wage. It should be a job that you have expertise and you appreciate and you want to serve the American people because, we're a shining city on the hill. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to live in a country, I know I do, that when you call the Social Security Administration or the IRS, if you have a problem or whatever, they pick up on the first ring and they answer and address your issue. That's what people who have some level of self-respect expect from their government. And I don't know if I told you, because I don't know, I haven't really pursued it lately, but I was getting my Irish citizenship to get the fuck out of here. And I contacted Ireland, there to get my grandfather's and my grandmother's birth certificate. And I had it in my hand in 2 weeks. Okay? Now, I tried to get my father's birth certificate, which took months and months here. And I was talking to a friend of mine who is from Ireland, and I said I was really impressed about that. And he said, yeah, there's one thing you can say about Ireland. They have a really good bureaucracy. And I could see, I contacted them, I paid my little fee, and I had these birth certificates that went back to, the beginning of last century. In the matter of 2 weeks, across the sea, across the ocean. And that made me a little bit jealous, too. Because it's the way that Republicans have assaulted government, which is another example of how Republicans, and the corporate media, gives them legitimacy. It doesn't push back on them. It just amplifies the hate, is that they're talking about the government the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us. They're talking about the government, when Trader Trump and J.D. Vance are snapping their stolen valor salutes that they shouldn't even be giving, they're saluting the service member who gave their life. What? For what? I know, and they're supposedly gave their life for the government of the United States, the democratic republic, the constitutionally limited democratic republic. In this instance, Trader Trump uses that sacred bond to kill people needlessly, of course. But you see what I mean. But every time when he goes to Arlington and snaps a thumbs up over a fallen soldier's grave, that soldier died for this system. That's what, when Republicans are like, oh, they love America, no one ever asks them, what do you love about America? Because you certainly seem to hate America, as evidenced by your behavior. When you hate something, you try to destroy it. You hurt it. You set it up to fail. That's all Republicans are doing, setting this country up for failure. When you think about the illegal and unconstitutional war with Iran now that these monsters have dragged us into, they didn't set us up. They didn't set us up for success, because what else did he do? They were all talking about the oil tankers in the Straits of Hormuz and just show some guts. Guts like Trader Trump. He's got so much guts, as you know, Trader Trump has, right? Such a little whiny baby bitch. He wears about an inch full of full face of makeup and a girdle. He lies about his weight. He lies about his height, but he's a real manly man. And so show some guts like him, right? He doesn't have the guts to go out and honor fallen service members in the rain. That's what happened in Normandy. He didn't want to go out because it was raining. And according to the General Kelly, who was it, who said that? Oh, that's when he said, well, why should I go? Why should I bother? They're suckers and losers. These are the suckers and losers who died. So, yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Show some guts. But the whole thing is, these people, what do you love about America? Like this little boy here destroying grants for things that he has no business being in charge of. He doesn't understand them. He lacks the fundamental decency to grasp the concept of soft power or leaving no one behind, or how modern, normal, emotionally mature human beings want to help each other, promote each other, protect each other. What these agencies that he defunded because of DEI that he can't even define, that what the things that they did, the good things they did to help people. Well, that's not what Republicans want. They're not in government to help people. They're here to steal. They're here to steal our tax dollars and make us rip each other apart to distract from it. That's what they're doing. Everything that's what this kid did. Destroy agencies that he has no business being in charge of, and the people who work there, dedicated people who made contributions to society that made the world a better place. But this kid, he's not making the world a better place. He's making it as horrible and small as Trader Trump. That's why you can't define DEI. What's DEI? Well, DEI is not me, right? It's not me, my white boy, privileged, pasty-faced, well-fed, unfit carcass. I guess that's the only thing you needed to get a job at DOGE. You needed to be a sycophant. You needed to be a little Nazi, a little Eichmann. That's really it. And pledge allegiance to the madness. to setting us up for failure, like with Trump. You think if he knew, if Iran was such a pressing threat, and if they didn't do it, we would have been we would have been attacked like nobody's ever seen. You think not only would he have run on it, right? Instead, he didn't even talk about it at the State of the Union. Well, it was like a sentence. He said something about Iran. We had more bullshit about the Medal of Honor or whatever the hell he was giving out, like he was fucking Oprah. So, and they wouldn't have rolled back our green energy future either, because that's another thing. So if you don't really have to worry about oil tankers getting through the Straits of Hormuz if you have no need for oil, you see. It's a national security thing. But that's what, Trader Trump doesn't give a shit, and neither do Republicans, because they're just disgusting sycophants. They don't want their brains. They don't want to think. And they're, just take your head out and look at the executive order. Take your brain out and see what did the worst human being on the planet say in his executive order about DEI? DEI. Can you believe this? So that, it's all connected. When I think about Joe Rogan endorsing Trader Trump, of course he did. What else is new? The worst people endorsing the worst people, having no clue. It takes maturity and decency to understand what this grand experiment in liberal democracy is supposed to be about, right? That's why education is so important. You teach young people how precious a system of self-governance is that promotes the general welfare, that thinks about each other. E pluribus unum is a rallying cry, leave no one behind. Out of many, one. What is out of many, one? That sounds very DEI to me. That sounds very woke.
With an executive order, we would just refer back to the EO and assess if this grant had relation to it.
Okay.
Incredible.
But I guess I'm stepping back from your
absolutely
methodology
incredible
strictly in terminating the grants. Do you have an understanding, as you sit here today, of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding of what it means?
Well,
it's
it
incredible.
Is exactly what was written in the EO.
It's exactly what was written. That's your
I don't have the EO in front of
understanding.
me, but that was we would always reference back to the
What?
EO
Because
and
you
make
have
sure
no
that this grant was
brain?
in
You have no
compliance with
ability to
the EO.
I
absorb?
understand that. Okay, but I'm not asking necessarily about what was in the EO. I'm asking very specifically about your present understanding
Yeah.
of what
It's such a
DEI.
passion for you. What
Do
is
you
it?
have a present understanding of DEI?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Can you
I do.
explain
I
what
do.
that present
Explain it.
understanding is?
Give me the elevator speech.
Well, it's just easier for me to be referencing back to the
Because
EO.
are
you
you
refusing to
fucking
answer the question?
stupid?
I'm not refusing to answer the question.
Okay.
I just feel that referencing back to the verbatim executive order was the best way for us to capture all of the DEI language.
Capture
And so
it
I
all,
think giving
grab it.
a high-level overview of what I
Like potato
relay
chips.
as
You
DEI
can't eat. You
is
eat
not
one,
gonna
you got to
do
eat the
justice
whole
what was written in
DEI.
the EO.
And that's okay. We can look at the EO as well. But
Great.
I'm asking you for, this is a
Great,
deposition.
let's
I'm
look at
asking
it. Let's
questions. You're under oath.
tell me what
You have to
the
answer
worst
them.
human
So
being on the
what is
planet
your
says about
understanding
it.
of what DEI means?
Well, I think I would say again that I would go
You
back to the
embarrassing
EO
little
to make sure I'm
boy.
capturing enough. I don't feel comfortable saying a high-level overview because it is.
It's not high
such a
level. It's your opinion. What is
big
it?
bucket, and there's just a lot of.
Is it a big
pieces of the
bucket?
puzzle that-
What's a part of the bucket?
Right. Give me a piece.
Gender fluidity.
Oh, scary. Yeah, because if you got
promoting,
if you got a pee-pee, you got an innie or an outie, they have to worry about, is your pee-pee dressed properly? Are you an innie or an outie? The pee-pee I can't even talk. The pee-pee police. And this proves my point yet again. We all have had probably, I don't know. I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews, and we all know when kids are little, and I was little too, and have brothers and sisters. they're very focused on the pee-pee. The pee-pee is funny. It's, look at my pee-pee, Their poopy and pee-pee, that's their level of humor. So it's a very infantile obsession. You usually grow out of it when you reach a certain level of maturity. Not the Republicans. They're very focused on the pee-pee. That's what focus on the family should be called. Focus on the pee-pee. Is the pee-pee dressed properly? Is the pee-pee does the pee-pee want to form a legal marriage contract with somebody of the same pee-pee or an opposite pee-pee? Whoa, whoa. Got to get the pee-pees. Is the pee-pee's got to be what they say a pee-pee has got to be, even though they have no understanding either of a pee-pee, that there's many types of pee-pee. It's not just XY or XX. You can get a whole range. They don't seem to understand that because they're not very smart. They want to drag us back to the times that we all left in history's trash bin. That's why they're destroying the, science, and they want to destroy morality too. They want to destroy decency. They want to, instead of evolving, because evolving and growing up, it's growing pains, right? That's why it's called growing pains. It's uncomfortable growing up. It's uncomfortable learning hard lessons. You have to apply yourself. You have to struggle sometimes. You have to feel pain. Sometimes it hurts to learn hard lessons and evolve. They don't want to do that. They're very weak. That's why all of their, like in Florida and other places, one of their history, they can't teach history if it makes little white boys like him uncomfortable. Some of the history should be uncomfortable to everybody. We should all be uncomfortable by it because we want to make sure it doesn't happen again. They don't seem to understand that because, they're emotionally stunted. There's no intellectual curiosity, emotional intelligence in the entire GOP caucus, except for some of them. Well, Thomas Massey, for one. At least he's helping expose the pedos in this caucus, but he's paying the price.
Like promoting subsets of LGBTQ plus that
Promoting. That means acknowledging the existence of others, that of anybody who's not a straight white man. That's DEI to these people.
alienate another part of a community.
Alienate. How you alienate a community? By simply saying, hey, I'm here too. It doesn't matter. You say it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense to these people. They're sick.
Again, it was just easier for us to reference back into the EO.
Because you're a fucking clown. You and Elon Musk, they're all clowns. They're all idiots. So is, like Joe Rogan, like we're saying, spreading false misinformation, spreading COVID lies. He was one of the primary causes of misinformation during COVID. But they all are. Same with Elon Musk. You know, he's supposed to be a genius. That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why we're in trouble. The corporate media, all of the large platforms, normalizing this shit, spreading the lies, gaslighting us constantly.
Okay, so...
And I don't want to give you a broad overview because
Should be
it's
embarrassed.
like, at the end of the day, it is capturing.
Sick.
It is all encompassing in the EO. It's how we
You
did our
sick,
methodology.
sick, sad little
Right.
boy.
Do you always refer to EOs to gain an understanding of words used in
I wouldn't be
your
surprised.
typical daily vernacular?
Objection.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
You say that you have an understanding of what DEI means, and when I ask you, you say you need to reference the EO. Do you need to reference EOs to define every
Incredible.
word you use in your
I hope
everyday
not.
life?
Objection.
Yeah, America sure
No.
is
Okay.
swirling
So
the
what's
drain.
stopping you from defining DEI to your understanding as you sit here today?
To your understanding.
28th.
You could be wrong.
2026.
it wouldn't be capturing enough of how big the topic is.
Big? Is it really? No, it's small, like you. That's the topic. You know, and to promote it, to report it as anything other than what it is, a clear attack on the decency, on diversity itself, on the very soul of this country, because we are a diverse nation. And I know that Republicans hate that. That's part of how they hate this country. They hate the very essence of it. We're a nation of immigrants. They hate that. We are a modern nation at one point. You know, they have done so much damage to us now, dragging us backwards. So they have done, I mean, we are going to be cleaning up this shit for generations. And I really do hope that, because a lot of times when I see shit that goes on, like, for example, Pete Hegseth getting upset that they're taking bad photos of him, or so what he thinks are bad photos, and not flattering photos of himself. It's just another example of how it's a show. What do you care? You're in a war, Department of War, boy. Right? Big war. You're making boom booms everywhere. Whee! Planes flying, dropping, delivering lethality. You fucking sociopath, you child. But you got to take a good picture. When you have nothing to offer, it's like all of them have nothing to offer. That's why they use the trappings of the office. They have to really worry about the trappings of the office. They exploit the trappings of the office. Buy me some lobster, steak, all that. Fly me around, private jets with a fuck pad in the back. All that. Make me, make me look pretty. That's Pete Hegseth. He's got a Fox News makeup whole setup now at the Pentagon for himself, for his appearances. Because it's all about the outside. It's all about the substance. I mean, the style, because the substance is over their heads. The substance is beyond reach. Like the definition of DEI is out of their reach. They don't understand it. They never understood what diversity, that diversity is our strength. They never understood that. Even Pete Hegseth himself said, diversity, the stupidest thing we've ever said is diversity is a strength. It's not stupid if you aren't stupid. You understand it. Diversity, of course, is a strength. You know, they all long for the good old days, right? But they don't long for they long for the good old days for the system that of strict racial hierarchies and gender mores and all that. But we're talking about a system that make America great again. I don't know what part to them was the great part. It's when white people like these people, these underwhelming white people, had no accountability. And here we are again. And I sincerely hope, I mean, we've never really broken out of it, of course, but I do sincerely hope we get to that part where they're in the dock at The Hague. Pete Hegseth sitting in the dock at The Hague would be a beautiful thing. This kid reminded me of this one here. Remember her?
And of Americans
Bethany Mandel or whatever.
Consider themselves very liberal, and probably fewer of them consider themselves to be woke. And so, when we talk about traditional,
what does that mean to you? Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that,
You said...
This is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it.
You wrote a book
on it, honey. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression.
What?
Sorry, it's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Is it? You wrote a whole book on it, right? Well, this is what we're dealing with. Sick people. And speaking of the sick, he gave a speech in Tennessee. I don't know who comes out for these speeches, these sick bastards who are dumbasses. They hold signs that say, what did it say? Bigger paychecks. Because that's all that means, right? This is all you got to do. You don't have to have policy. You can have policy that makes your paycheck smaller and fires people, drags us backwards, gives us high unemployment rates, destroys America's future, makes us a pariah on the global stage, makes the Canadians hate us, and all you gotta do is get some dupes at a rally to hold up a sign that says bigger paychecks. But the complete disgustingness of Trader Trump was on full display, of course.
Terrorist regime in Iran with Operation Epic Fury.
What are you clapping for? Did you shit yourself, Trader Trump? Epic Fury! Boom. What are you smiling for, you unserious clown? Not that clowns should be serious, but this is more like a nightmare clown. It's the stuff of nightmares. Epic Fury! It sounds like the guy from Saturday Night Live who does the imitation of Trump.
Terrorist regime in Iran with Operation Epic Fury.
Fuck you. Why are you applauding, you dumb...
Is that a great name?
...scums? Is that a great name? Is that a great name? Because that's all that matters. Is that a great name? No, it should be called Operation Epstein's Fury or Epstein Distraction. See, branding. Let's go branding, right? You fuckers. And of course he ended. This is the thing. They were playing this speech on the corporate media. Look at this shit. I have to lower it because I'll get dinged. He's dancing to YMCA. You disgraceful bunches of monsters. Look at all these white people. All these old white people in the background. Suckers. Suckers are born every minute. Trumpanzees are living proof. And, Tennessee is a shithole. Poorly run Republican shithole under Republican control for generations. And they're suffering for it. So, you just gotta know. This is another example of how propaganda works. Everywhere you go. When I was in West Virginia visiting my good friend Robin Kincaid, wherever we went, of course, the TV, if there was a TV and it was on Fox News. So there you go. Fox News is a channel that makes people stupid enough to vote Republican. And the fact that the Democratic Party, we have to get this, just like Rush Limbaugh working the refs. That's what the right-wing media ecosystem did for generations, working the refs, calling the media the liberal media when it was not the liberal media. There is no liberal media. This is the liberal media, this show and others like it. We're the liberal media. The corporate media is not the liberal media. They're the billionaire media. Some may have some liberal, and what's liberal? Liberal is truth. Truth has a liberal bias. When you tell the truth about Trump, they get upset. That's why Fox News exists. It's GOP TV. It was what Rupert Murdoch proposed to Richard Nixon. It was in the Powell memo. Lewis Powell's memo to the Chamber of Commerce that said we need to take over the media. We need to take over the universities. This is how we're going to defeat America. It's not just defeat liberalism, because America is a liberal experiment. America is a progressive experiment in self-governance. So when they say we're owning the libs or drinking liberal tears, they're drinking the tears of the founding fathers. Really. In all their flaws and hypocrisies, they gave us this progressive blueprint which to build upon. They're drinking the tears of a modern system of a democratic republic that has potential. We have the potential to be a great country, but not with Republicans in charge, not with conservatives. There is not a single country on earth that's run by conservatives, that's happy, healthy, free, where the people are free and happy and productive and able to speak their minds, able to share this blip of time with each other and reach our full potentials, you know. Have the best time of that we can in a system where these people like Trader Trump and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel want us to be nothing but Soylent Green, hosts from which to suck profit and discard. That's what they're doing. They're dragging us back to the dark ages, where we have no seat at the table, where we don't, can't complain. We don't pester our betters for a decent life or a fair share of the profits our labor makes possible, or health care, living wages. It's unreal, though, but it's very real. In the last, I only have a couple of minutes. Wait a minute here. Holy shit. In the last 2 minutes, as you probably seen, this is the disgrace that is how do you say that? Is the Republican Party, Republicans, that they, Trader Trump is giving them the shoes. He likes his shoes. They're all wearing shoes that are too big for them. Where the fuck is it? Come on, Safari. Hold on. And it says everything. I mean, how embarrassing. Look at little Marco's shoes. Wearing daddy's shoes. So he's giving them shoes, and they're wearing shoes that are too big for them. And it's not just little Marco. It's all of them. Look at these guys. They're all like him. Oh shit, you can't see that. Oh, come on. This is what I can't take about Ecamm. Every time I set it up, it's like setting it up for the first time. And it moves. Look at that. They're all swimming in their shoes. It's like, look at me. You ever see a little boy puts on his daddy's shoes? That's what we're witnessing here. And what is it with them that they can't say to Trader Trump, oh, thanks for the gift, but it's, I take a size 9. And these are size 12. No, they have to wear the shoes. All right, guys, this is the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed hanging out for this hour, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We will have our Friday night get-together tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Right. He gave them, right, Bald Thanos on the chat. He gave everybody shoes because of his ankles. Right, that's why they have to be 2 sizes too big, because everybody has cankles. I wouldn't be surprised if the Republicans would come up with a way of giving themselves cankles to stand in solidarity with the worst human being that ever lived. All right, guys. Come back tomorrow. I mean, yeah, it is tomorrow. It's Thursday. It's hard to keep track. Every day is like a year. So, subscribe to my Substack up there in the corner. Check out Charlie's APS Radio and APS Radio News. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tarabuster. These are your marching orders, all right? And we will be back together tomorrow night, Friday night, at the Tarabuster YouTube channel. So if you're not, or the Substack or the Discord, not Discord, Twitch and all the other places. But come on over to youtube.com/channel/Tarabuster. Thank you, Jim, for posting that link in the chat. And we can hang out. That's what we do on Friday nights. We hang out, our Friday night get-together. And thank you. We will win. We are on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Remember what I always say. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. I love you. I will see you tomorrow night. But check me out on Substack. And in the meantime, all right, guys? I'll see you soon.